Hi guys, Teresa here from our Japanese Gardener's Cape. Today we're going to be dealing with this mound you can see in front of me. This has become quite a mess over the last few weeks. It's completely overgrown, bushes need trimming, weeding needs to be done, and things need to be cut back. The first step I'm going to be doing today, other than putting on my gloves first, is removing all these ferns in this area. So ferns are elements that are found in Japanese gardens, but we do have a lot of ferns on the other side of the garden over there. And you see here in this mound, they're just overgrowing the plants really too much. So step number one, we're going to take out all of, or at least most of the ferns. I'm just going to use this trowel here, like I did in other videos. And I will try to get them out with the root, otherwise they will regrow. So the smaller ones here, they're actually coming out without cutting them out. Bigger ones, wow, like this one here, you see that one needs to be cut out. Ooh, that one is sitting quite well in there. So because we want to give the other plants that we originally planted here some more breathing space. Okay, that's number one. As always, I'm careful that I do not take out too much moss. So I'm always trying to save as much as possible, but sometimes it just can't be avoided when doing weeding jobs or jobs like those. First ferns are gone, and you can see how this already changes the picture. It's a lot more open, and also the these big stones, they're lava stones, so they're the only round stones we're using in the garden, and you can see they are coming into light again because they were so overgrown that none of them were visible anymore. So I'm just going to pull out the last few ferns, and then we'll do the second step, which is weeding everything. And these ferns here, they were rooting quite deeply or with a wide base. You've seen on the one I pulled out where we filmed the close-up. So this is a bit unusual, but they seem to really like it here. And in this entire area of the garden, so that's the left-hand side of the garden, we actually do not have ferns anywhere except for on this mound. And I'm not quite sure why. I mean, this mound is just a soil that we put there a few years ago, and then we gravelled it with I forgot what type of gravel it was, but it's this one here. I'll show you close up. It looks like this, but it has kind of gone under in, you know, pine needles, moss and so on, so you can't really see it that much anymore. But maybe that's the reason why the ferns like it so much here, because it keeps it very moist. So that could be a reason why they sprayed here like crazy. Okay, on to the last few here. Oh, that's another big one. most of the ferns are gone. There are a few left on the other side. I'll deal with them later. They are really hard to take out on this mound here. So I thought I start with the second step, which is weeding. And they're inside the mound, so under the trees, there's actually not that much of weeds, just really around the edges, so where it starts to grow over from the grass here. And we have those here, these like long stringy ones. We do find them pretty much everywhere in the garden. In some years more, in other years like this year actually less, except for this is a patch where there's quite a lot. So, but this turns out to be on this mound a lot easier than taking the ferns out. So I thought I'd do some weeding in between. With these I usually try to, especially when they grow in moss, I usually try to find this like the string here, you see, and then normally you can just pull them out by the root. So sometimes this rips out some moss as well, but if you're careful, it's actually quite easy to do. And whatever here you see, patch of moss, they came out with it, and I'll just put that back in and push it down. So like this, I'm gonna be working my way around. It's mainly those, and then we have some clover that grows. There's one back there, like these here. We do find them in the garden quite a lot also, but they are quite easy to remove. They can grow quite tall, but they usually come out very easily. So guys, the side there where we got started is pretty much done with taking out ferns and also weeding. And here there's just a little bit left here, and I'll just continue on this side now. So as I said before, these ferns, they turn out to be really difficult to get out. So this is why it's taking longer, and why I switched to weeding for a little bit. And now I'm back to ferns, well, and weeding, I suppose, just, you know, as it comes. So there was quite a lot on the other side, we'll show you later, because a lot of the end of the mound where it goes into the grass was overgrown by grass and weeds and stuff, and there's a lot of moss underneath, which is really nice. So we're gonna walk you around later on. Right, we're on to the last bit here, which you can see behind me. That's utter chaos. Maybe you've seen it already in one of our last videos where I walked you through the garden after coming back from holiday. So I showed you this bit, and now we're finally working on this and making this all nice again. I'm very excited about this. Okay, what we're gonna do here, other than removing the last of the ferns here and a few weeds are left here, we're gonna remove those grasses here. These grasses, we've planted those here, and they just grow naturally in the area, in the local area here. They do look very nice when they're still small, but every year we notice they are growing wider and also taller. And they just start, as you see here, they just start to overgrow everything. Also, they build seeds. You can see them here. Normally we cut them every year before they were seeding. This year we forgot, I think. Oops. Anyway, but then they are short, and then they don't grow properly anymore. So it's kind of, if you look at it, it has become too messy because the grasses have just become too big, and this is actually not even their full size. So when you let them grow, they can actually get like this. And this year we decided to take them out completely, just in order to give this area more clean and a more calm look again. So that's what we're gonna do next. So we see if that works with the little trowel, or if I need to get a spade. I'll try on this one here, and then I'll work my way along to the back there, together with taking the ferns out, and then we're pretty much there with the mound. So starting with this one, I have weeding this entire mound. I've taken out some other like nastier grasses that grow in the normal remaining lawn, so I've taken some of those out as well, at more moss sacrifice, but it's better to take them out, and then the moss can grow undisturbed. Ah, that's easier than the ferns. Okay, that's good. So I'm gonna be taking them out in pieces. You see how soggy the soil is because we had so much rain after all this dry area and it is completely soaked. So at the moment it's quite hot again, but there will be the occasional thunderstorm, I think today or tomorrow. So guys, this was the last big grass here, and now I'm just pulling out these tiny ones on the pathway, and then we're done with sorting out this mess we had on this mound. And it was quite a mission, to be honest. It took us a few hours actually to do that. Obviously you only see shorter periods on the video, otherwise it will be way too long for you. It's very hot today and muggy, so it's really sticky and moist, humid. This didn't make it easier, but it's finally done. Wow, look at this difference, guys. The pathway is almost clear again. It looks so much better with all the ferns and all these grasses here. So now this area is more open, and you can see how much moss there has been growing. So the last thing what I will do here is pull this last grass out and transfer some of this moss that has just naturally grown onto the pathway back onto here, because you see it has overgrown it completely. So I'll just basically grab it, it's kind of loose anyway, and just set it down here in some areas where there is just soil from where we took the grasses out, to cover this up. So there are a few you see a few dry bits from these grasses in there that I took out, but I wasn't picking it all out because it just gets rid of too much moss, and this will disappear naturally. Now this is also done. That's great, and the last step we're doing today is just a little bit of pruning on some of these conifers, just to bring them back in shape, and then we're done with this mound. Okay, so I'll start with this one here. This is a low and really slow growing juniper, and I'll just take, you see all these kind of date branches. This is because they were overgrown by the other grasses, so I'm just going to take those off. Normally junipers, they do grow out anyway from also dead wood, so I just do here kind of a rough shaping and see how much will grow back out, and then do a bit more maybe in the coming season. That looks quite alright. A few here. Okay, and back there we have a good one. So we'll see how this grows back. Those here I'm gonna leave for now because you see the tips are still growing. So let's see if this is coming back. And this one here, this is like one long branch. Look at the moss that grows in here. This is quite funny because it has been sitting on the ground, so the moss just decided to grow over it. What I will do here, I will take this one off, but I will take the moss off. I don't want to waste that, and just, you see here's an empty spot anyway, so we'll just put that back in real quick. So normally for these junipers, I took my gloves off now because it was getting a bit too hot. But normally for junipers I do wear gloves because they sting, and I tend to get like red little dots on my skin when I touch them. I'm not allergic or anything, but this just happens with junipers, that's normal. Okay, good, on to the next one. It's out of the way. This one here, this is also a juniper. So this one, you see, grows in a different way. It grows more in these like longer shoots, and tends to grow like in here in longer branches. It's also like a creeping one, so it will stay as low as you can see it here. It's possible to trim the top off. We may do this one day, but at the moment the height is still all right. And what I will do here, I'll just shorten those branches here a little bit because they grow into the grass too much. So also here, this is just more like a rough kind of shaping. So this is just a simple cut back to the last shoot here, so of the length I want. This one is okay. This one here, so that looks better. Good, and these, you see they're growing out too long. Take them back a little bit, and those two. On this one here, we're just going to take off this bottom branch. See, if I bend it away, it opens it up a little bit, and I want these branches to grow out actually. So I'll use my saw for that. And cut it at the trunk as close as possible. Great, that's done. Good. And then let's continue around and see what else we are taking off. Ah, yeah, that's the only fern we left in there next to this lava rock here. So that's okay, but we're gonna keep watching it so to avoid that it gets too big. Right, then what do we have here? Put my saw to the side for now. Here we have some another juniper. So this one is growing to the side but also up, you can see here. And this one down here looks actually all right. We can just shorten those a little bit, because what that does is it keeps it compact. These actually, these shears are better for that. So just like so. This one, I've done this before on this juniper. So, and it, you see, has started here with this compact kind of growth, and just a few that are growing out during the summer. Those I'm just gonna shorten a bit. So that's pretty much it on this one. On this lower part here, it looks quite good. And then there's one more. And then up here, you see this is growing a bit out of order really. First I'm gonna shorten these here, again in the same kind of way. And especially these ones growing into that tree, this is a bit, they're going a bit too far out here. So we're gonna do like a rough prune here. That's better, just put it to the side. Okay, this one is growing way too high. Also this we want to keep low and compact. And that's okay, this one is too long. Back here, this one. Okay, some at the back, and this one here, this is, you see, growing out way too much here. So we're gonna cut this one. And they actually do, once you start pruning these junipers, they do develop a kind of a compact shape quite quickly. So usually after the first season you can already see that they start growing more in a more compact kind of way and not really out that much. Right, down here I'm just gonna take off a few branches to like lift it up a little bit, because some are hanging a bit low here. So this is just really a rough pruning today to keep it in shape, and a proper clean out I do in autumn time on those type of plants. Okay, and this one is going too long. Okay, that looks good. So, okay. Better. The very last thing to do on this mound is trimming this one back a little bit. I'm not quite sure how this is going to look, but I'll just give it a try. So I use the longer shears for that. That's quite a fast way of trimming. And this is kind of a funny plant. And this, we have two more there, but they stayed low and small, and this one got a bit bigger. It off the ground a bit. Okay, last few cuts, that's it. So we're done with this mound. I'm very happy with the result. It looks so much nicer than it was before. It makes such a difference. It's all weeded, the ferns are out, and some of the plants are pruned, and also we took these grasses out, which makes the pathway a lot more open. Adam put some new gravel also on it, and so it looks now really nice again and beautiful. Alright guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye!